Hey guys, this is Mr. Davis. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use tables to graph. I've got 3 goals for this video. 1, I want you to be able to create a table from an equation. I want you to be able to graph a line from a table. And then I've got a couple challenge problems where you stick those 2 skills together. One of them will even be a harder math problem, nothing too crazy, but a little bit of a push for you. Start from whichever skill is right for you. So if the first thing is too easy, just move on over to the second. Here we go. Alright guys, in this problem I'm going to take this equation, y equals 2x, and I'm going to create a table. The tables that we create are always our xy chart tables here. So I've got an x and a y, and I'm going to be able to substitute any x values that I want. You have control over the x, that's in your domain, and the y is the result of your choices for x. Because I can choose anything for x, I'm going to choose, let's see, -2, -1, 0, and 1. You can choose whatever you want. That's what I'm going to choose. So let's see, let's go ahead and get started with our substitution. Let's start with -2. When I substitute y equals 2x, I put my substitution number in place of x. So I'm not going to actually have x. Instead of x, I'm going to have parentheses -2. Because that's what I'm substituting over here is -2. Y equals 2 times -2. 2 times -2 is -4. So when x is -2, y is -4. And that is how I do my first substitution. When x was -2, y was -4. Alright, let's do our next one. Let's do x equals 1, right there. Y equals, sorry, that's supposed to be -1. I'm doing x equals -1. So my substitution is y equals 2x. But instead of x, I've got -1. So y equals 2 times -1. Let's see, 2 times -1 is going to be -2. -2. Let's erase this, then that. Let's put back in my -1, and there we go. Alright, next is 0. Y equals 2 times x, but instead of x, I've got 0. Y equals 2 times 0, which is 0. And last, I've got 1. Y equals 2 times x, but instead of x, I've got 1. Y equals 2 times 1, which is 2. And there we go. I've got my table. Why don't you try to do this problem? Y equals 5x. Create a table for y equals 5x. Hit pause, and then hit play when you're done. Alright, so I start with my table, x, y. I can choose any x values. This time I'm going to choose 1, 2, 3, and 4. And let's start substituting. Y equals 5x. But instead of x, I'm going to use 1. Y equals 5 times 1. What's 5 times 1? Well, that's 5. Next, let's use 2 for x. Y equals 5 times 2. What's 5 times 2? 10. Now let's use 3 for x. Y equals 5 times 3. What's 5 times 3? 15. Oops, I forgot to write the 10. And last, let's use 4 for x. Y equals 5 times 4. What's 5 times 4? 20. And there, I've got my table. Alright, let's make this one a little bit more complicated. Do we dare? Y equals -3x. Go ahead and hit pause, and then hit play when you're ready. Alright, you start with an x and a y. Now, a lot of students make a very common mistake here where they're going to feel like x has to be negative because of that negative value. And that's not true. You're just choosing the number that goes there. It could be positive or it can be negative. I'm going to use, let's see, this time let's use -1, 0, 1, and 2. And let's get started with my -1. So, y equals -3 times x. But instead of x, I've got -1. What's -3 times -1? Negative times a negative is a positive. So that's going to be +3. Now, let's do 0. So let's see, I've got y equals -3, but instead of x, I've got 0. What's -3 times 0? 0. All right, let's go down and do 1 now. So I've got y equals -3 times 1. What's -3 times 1? -3. And last but definitely not least is 2. So let's see, y equals -3 times 2. -3 times 2 is -6. And that's my table. Again, the most common mistake is to feel like all of your x's have to be negatives. They don't. Those can be whatever numbers you want. They can be positives or they can be negatives as long as you're doing a multiply by -3, because that's what this says, x times -3. All right, let's use the tables that we have to graph lines. Let's use tables to graph lines. So I'm going to quickly create my tables again. I had -2, -1, 0, and 1. This was -4, -2, 0, and 2. When I'm graphing lines, I'm going to graph them on our coordinate plane. I need to label my x as the line that goes left and right. My y is the line that goes up and down. And then with each tick mark, I need to show how I'm counting. And I'm going to count by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's probably enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are all the positives. That's what I'm doing first. 4, oops, I wrote an 8 there on accident. I got distracted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then I could also label my negatives. Oh, I did a bad job. Let me erase and fix it. Graphing really well takes time because you need to be cautious and careful. And if you're like me and you try to go too fast, you'll make dumb little mistakes like what you see me making. Also keep in mind that it's really hard to write nice, pretty, small things on an iPad. So -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8, and going down. On your paper, I expect this to look much nicer. It's just so much easier to do. All right, I'm not going to do this again. I'm just going to copy and paste. But let's go ahead and do some graphing. Let's see. I've got -2, -4. So I go left 2, I go up 4, and there's my dot. I've got -1, -2, left 1, ooh, down 2. Did you see the mistake I made with my red dot here? It was supposed to be -4 for y, but I went +4, so that's actually wrong. I'm supposed to go left 2, down 4, right there. All right, here 0, 0 is the origin, and 1, 2, over 1, up 2. Ooh, please notice that these dots are all in a line. Our equation that we are graphing here, y equals 2x, is a linear equation. Its graph is going to make a line. And you're going to do the best you can to draw that line. I did a terrible job. Let's try it again. Beautiful, much better. Every time you graph by hand, it's an approximation. It's not perfect. So be forgiving for yourself if it doesn't look perfect. That's why we like to use computers to graph, because it makes it so much prettier. Alright guys, here's that next problem, y equals 5x. Why don't you go ahead and graph the points and create a line. Hit pause, hit play when you're ready. Alright, let's see here. I'm going to start with my graph, label my x and my y. I'm going to count my x's by 1s, both positively and negatively. I'm going to count my y's by 5. Can you figure out why? Well, counting by 5 seems like a really easy way of going throughout the whole table, and it saves me a lot of work. And so it saves me a lot of work, and it's absolutely allowed, so that's what I'm going to do. And now let's plot our points. X is 1, y is 5. So over 1, up 5. 2, 10. Over 2, up 10. 3, 15. Over 3, up 15. And 4, 20. Over 4, up 20. And I'm ready to draw the line. Ooh, that wasn't a very good line. Let's try again. Let's take the extra couple seconds to make sure that the line goes through the points and looks nice. There we go. Next problem. I've got it all set up this time. Can you guys graph y equals negative 3x? Hit pause, and then hit play when you're ready. Alright, here's my table. All I've got to do is plot the points I created for my table. Left 1, up 3. Origin, 0, 0. Over 1, down 3. 2, negative 6, so over 2, down 6. Notice that as I draw this line is going down. I knew this line would be going down because the slope of this line is negative, and we'll talk about that. But that's a negative 3x. The negative means it's going to go down instead of going up. Alright, here's your first challenge problem. Create a table and then graph the line. Hit pause and take your time solving it. Alright, and let's show you your next challenge problem. Here's your next challenge problem. Y equals 2x plus 1. Create a table and then graph a line. Hit play and I'll go through it. Alright, you ready? I'm going to create a table. I get to choose my x's. I'm going to choose 1, 2, 3, and 4. I could have chosen anything. And now I'm going to substitute y equals 2 times 1 plus 1. So that plus 1, it just kind of attaches to the end. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. Y equals 2 times 2 plus 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Y equals 2 times 3 plus 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Y equals 2 times 4 plus 1. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. And again, I label my points. 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. I don't have to label all the points because I'm not too worried about it going in the negative direction because I can see the table and how the graph behaves. Over 1, up 3. Over 2, up 5. Over 3, up 7. Over 3, up 7. And over 4, up 9. And there's my graph. We'll talk more about this later on. Good job, guys.